Welcome to another Terraform Associate video. I'm an Azure Administrator, an Azure Security Engineer, an Azure Associate Architect, as well as a Certified Kubernetes Application Developer. Video 4, Part 1, Adding Input Variables to our VM. Skill level, medium. So what are we going to talk about in this video? We're going to learn about the variable block command. When creating Terraform configuration, it is best practice to separate out parts of the configuration into individual.tf files. So we will learn about the variables.tf file, the terraform.tfvar file, and then the command line dash var equals variable name equals value. To follow along, create a folder named video 4, copy the main TF from video 3 part 2 into the video 4 folder, and then run terraform init. Let's get started. Okay, let's get started with some input variables. I'm starting with the recipe that left off with video 3 part 2. So if you want to follow along and you didn't do any of the videos or had trouble, just go to my GitHub site and download the main TF from video 3 part B. Make a folder called video 4. Paste that in there and you're ready to follow along. Alright. First thing I want to do here is you can see if I scroll down to the VM, the name is hard-coded. I'm going to make that a variable. So let's come up here, still in my main NTF file. Go to line 14 and hit enter a couple times, and on line 15 do control space bar. And we should have variable. So hit click variable. Let's give our variable a name. We'll call it VM, lowercase, VM underscore name. Let's hit control space bar to see what's required. Well, we see that description is optional, sensitive is optional, and type is optional. Well, let's go ahead and give it a type. And we know it's a string. Alright, so let's save that. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Terraform plan. Oh, we have to... First of all, I have to do a Terraform init for sure. Oh. Maintain variable VM name string. Perhaps we don't put quotes around string. File save. I'm still going to do an init. And notice when I do the init, I get a file called terraform.lock.hcl. And now I'm going to do my Terraform plan. And I predict I'm going to input it what I want the VM to be called. Well, let's call it VM55. And notice the name that I have in here for now is video 3 VM. And here we are prompted for the name, and it's VM55. So, my question to you is, when we look at the plan data, will it be called video 3 VM, or will it be VM55? Let's see. video 3 VM. Why did it not take our input? Well, I know why. So I need to come down here and type in var dot and then VM name. Now I feel pretty good that if I'm going to clear my screen this time when I run Terraform plan, I type in VM55 and I look at the plan, the name of the VM will be VM55. And if I scroll up, and you can see now it is called VM55. So pretty. That's pretty good. We're making a small improvement. But what if I don't want, let's say if I had 7 variables. I don't want to have to input 7 every time, right? I might want it, say, like a default. Right, so let me go to my variable here. Make a new line, control space bar, and look, I got default and description. Let's put a description in there. I'm going to say name of VM. I wonder when that shows up. And then I'll put, well, let's just see what happens here. I'm going to click, there we go, that's good. So I'm just going to add a description. File, save. And I want to see now, if you look up here, we did it earlier, and it prompted us. It just said var VM name, enter a value. Not all that friendly. Let's see if we get any change now. See, when we do a description, when we add a description, it'll put the description right here. So I'm going to hit Control C, get out of that. And now I'm going to add a default value. And I'm going to call it VM555. So now 3 VMs. Now the question is, will I get prompted? And what will be the name of the VM? So let's see. We can see we're not going to get prompted because that usually happens really fast. So I predict the name will be VM555, same as the default here. So that's pretty good. But what if at runtime I want to change the name? So to do that, let me clear my screen. We can do a Terraform plan dash var equals the name of my variable. So in this case, that's VM underscore name. And then what I want to equal to. So this time I'm going to call it VM777. So here, we won't get prompted. And we're going to override the default to be VM777. And we'll just confirm that when we see the plan data. And you can see here we got that. Whoops. Let me scroll down to the VM. Name, there we go. VM7777. Okay, next I'd like to introduce the concept of the variables.tf file. This can allow us to take our variable definitions out of our main TF and put in a separate file. So I'm going to come up here, create a file called variables.tf. I'm going to go back to my main and just remove all of this and put it in here. And then remove it from here. So it makes our file just a little cleaner. Then we have one place where we define all our variables. Let's go ahead and make one for location. So variable location. I'm going to control spacebar. I'm going to pick the type, and this is optional, but I think it's good to define it. String. And let's give it a description. And region. Resource group is located. And let's give it a default value. And we'll call it East US 2. Alright, so let's go back to our main TF and find our resource group location and change this from being hard-coded to var dot the name of our location of our variable. So location. Let's go ahead and save everything here. And actually let's change this default here so we know it's changed to from file. There we go, file, save. And of course we'll have to come down here. And we already had the var VM name here, so we're good to go there. Alright, let's do a Terraform plan. And we'll check out the results. While that's running, let me point out, oh, there we go. Name, we have from file, so it's definitely picking up from the file. And we look for the resource group. I am pretty confident we will see name location is East US 2. Now it would be kind of cool if in the resource group it had a setting for like the environment that's going in. So maybe it would read something like video 3-rg-dev, for example, -prod, based on what we're deploying. So let's go to our variables file and try to set something like that up. So control spacebar, can choose variable. I'm going to go ahead and call this environment, and I'm going to give it a type again. I'm going to say string, defaults, description. I'm going to say name of environment, something like dev prod QA. And then for defaults, I'm not sure why it doesn't show up there, but I'm going to say default equal to dev. Alright, so let's save our variables file. Let's go to our main TF, find our resource group, and we're going to change something in here just a little bit. we're going to say video 3-RG dash $, curly brackets, and we're going to say var.env. So it's going to substitute our environment here with the name. So I'll do a save. And come down here. We'll do a clear. Do another plan. And let's go see what our resource group name will be. You can see our resource group is going to be called video 3-RG-dev. So a nice easy way to change everything by resource group name based on the environment we're deploying to. Alright, excellent. Okay, if 2 files is good, or is better, main and variables, 3 must be even greater or more better. So let's create another file called Terraform TFVARs. And the purpose here is we're only going to put the values of the variables in here. So, for example, vm.name is equal to video3vm. Then environment is equal to dev, and location is equal to Central US. These should all be in quotes. This is VM underscore name. There we go. If we go to our variables folder or file, we'll get rid of all the defaults. Alright, so file, save all. Okay, so now we have the variables defined in the variables.tf. We have the values for these variables defined in the Terraform TFVARs file. So now we should see the VM with the value of video 3M and location of Central US. Alright, so let's do a Terraform plan. And if we look for the VM name, you can see we have video 3M, which is what we expected. And location would be Central US. So now the question would be, what overrides? What has greater priority? What's defined in variables or what's defined in Terraform? So let's go back to variables. And in location, let's define a default, and we'll put East US2. So the question is, will this override what's in this file? So we'll do a save. Let's do a clear. We'll do a plan. All right, and the question was, what has precedence or more priority, variables versus TFRs. Variables, we have location defined as East US 2. And in the TFRs file, we have the central. I predict it'll be central. And if we go to location, and it is central. So we now know TFR is a higher priority than variables. Okay, one more thing to check out here. What if we did a plan dash var equals location is equal to West US? Oop, I got a dash here, not an equal sign. There we go. So we got dash var equals location, which is equal to West US. What will the location be equal to? Okay, so it is equal to West US. So we know what's done in the command line will override everything else. All right. Well, I'm going to stop here with this video, and we'll continue on learning about input variables in part 2. Thanks for watching.